The team who have certainly not disgraced his faith in them during these difficult weeks, and who have won their way to Wembley when even their best friends feared they were finished for months to come. And if there's one body of friends who are Manchester United fans for the rest of their lives, it's the staff of the Rex de Isar Hospital. 100,000 people in weather that's more like summer than spring pack Wembley Stadium to watch the biggest game of the year, Bolton Wanderers in the dark shorts battling with Manchester United for the FA Cup. On the perfect turf, the teams line up for presentation to the Duke of Edinburgh. Nat Lofthouse presents the Wanderers, and then under the eyes of Matt Busby himself, United skipper Bill Fowkes presents the team which, after the Munich tragedy, very few people expected to reach the final. United kick off with the sun but against the wind. Little Ernie Taylor, Harry Gregg jumps and nearly loses it. Bolton winger Douglas Holden kicks upfield. Parry heads and Gregg misses, but sends it for a corner. Holden takes it, it's headed out and Ray Parry brings it back. He centres but Stan Crowther's there. He clears but Edwards returns it and Lofthouse runs in for a lightning goal. Bobby Charlton beats Higgins. Taylor shoots, and a beautiful save by Eddie Hopkinson. United are soon sweeping back to worry him again, but nothing seems able to pierce that Bolton defence. Back and half-backs work smoothly together, and the Manchester attacks break against them like waves against a rock. So the second half starts with Bolton still only one up, but pressing hard and giving Gregg little peace. The Wanderers' experience is telling over United's enthusiasm, and Manchester seem to be finding it difficult to work as a team. Brilliant individual efforts peter out through lack of support. Up the Manchester end again with Bolton moving in fast. Dennis Stevens shoots, Gregg parries, but Nat Lofthouse charges in, and there's Bolton's second goal. Only seconds to go, and Bolton sure of victory stage a final offensive, which very nearly makes it 3-0. But there's the whistle, and Bolton Wanderers have scored the fourth cup victory of their history.
At this particular time, it meant that we couldn't wait for young people to build a young team again. It meant actually to try into the transfer market and try and buy one or two players that I felt would help us through this particular period.
I think Sir Martin, Jimmy Murphy said it would take about 5 years to restructure the whole thing, and we could start competing on a level with everybody else. And it was nearer 5 years to the day we won the cup against Leicester, '63.
That was an important milestone, wasn't it, in the history of the club, because it sort of indicated the recovery to a certain extent.
Yeah. Well, there was a tremendous turnover of players here over that 5 years. You know, players were coming in, going out, and shuffling right, left and centre. But we stayed in the race. We stayed in the race. In fact, 1963, the year we won the cup, was probably our worst year after the Munich air crash, because we were really struggling.
We just couldn't. We'd signed Pat Crowder and we'd signed Law that year. And however way we played, we just couldn't win. And I remember we played at Leicester one time, and we finished up. Law scored a hat-trick, and Dennis Law scored a hat-trick. We lost 4-3, and just that way. And I remember coming in after the match and saying, "What have we got to do to win a match? What have we got to do to win a?" I said, "Just play the way we're playing, and we'll win matches eventually."
Time for United to apply the pressure. Ferran spots that inside left Dennis Law is well placed. Just watch how that Scottish wonder turns the pass to complete advantage. United have scored the all-important first goal. Law's on the warpath again. This time it seems incredible that City's goal can escape, yet it does. Out they come for the second half. United's one-goal lead is useful, but by no means commanding. And as Leicester kick off, they set out to demonstrate that it's anybody's game. One good thing for United, Bobby Charlton's in great form. He shoots, it goes to Hurd, and it's in the net. At last, Leicester's persistence brings reward. United don't fully clear a free kick. City centre-forward Ken Keyworth scores. Law initiates another attack. Tragically for Leicester, Banks fumbles. Ready to pounce on it is David Hurd. United's captain, Noel Cantwell, leads his men up to the royal box. For them all, it's the fulfilment of an English footballer's ambition. The cup and a cup medal. Incidentally, it's a moment of triumph for their manager, Matt Busby. Proof that he has most successfully rebuilt United.
When I joined United, Bobby Charlton was an established England international. Paddy Crerand, as I say, came later. Albert Quigsall had played for England several times. Then we bought Paddy Crerand, and all of a sudden we started to get a team together which played the type of football that Manchester United were sort of renowned for.
It was like a jigsaw puzzle that just came together. I mean, Bill Foulkes was just a big, reliable centre-half, hard. Nobby was the same, playing alongside him. I mean, you had those two, you didn't want to play against them two. And then up front you've got, you know, Bobby, Dennis and I, and you've got Paddy hitting 40, 50-yard balls and landing them at your feet, you know. That's what was lovely about the team.
People say we played it off the cuff. I suppose we did to a certain extent. We still marked at corners and free kicks. We had set throw-ins, etc. But we did.
And when we played away from home, it was like carnival. I can always remember, like, getting on the bus after a train and the people lying to the ground, people cheering and waving. And I used to wonder, I used to think, don't they think we're coming here trying to get a couple of pints today? Or are they just glad to see Manchester United?
So to the second half, and that fantastic 4-goal fusillade within 24 minutes. The equaliser came from across from Connelly, hit home by Hurd. Ten minutes later, George Best put Manchester in the lead. Now scoring their fourth, wing-half Crerand.
Lisbon kick-off attacking the goal this end. These days, Manchester United are back on top of the world, hoping to win the league, the cup, and this European Cup Winners' Cup. 17-year-old George Best passes to Law and escape for Lisbon.
Denis Law was fantastic because he went by people by using his brain, and simplicity was his game.
And he was like grease lightning. He was a player that we never had the likes of before, or probably won't have since. And as much as round about the box, he was just sort of, if the goalkeeper dropped it half a yard, you know, it was in.
Law kicks over his head, and it's a goal.
5 minutes later, United attack again. A pass to Denis Law. It's a goal. It's United again. Crerand to Charlton. And that England left winger is in top form tonight. He passes to Law. Another goal. United unsatisfied to lead 5-1. Denis Law backheels it to score his third goal. It was only right that Bobby Charlton should get one himself. Goal number 5. Right back, Tony Dunn finds Charlton. What a fantastic goal.
Bobby Charlton was a thoroughbred, you would say, in movement. If somebody was gifted in movement, in running, in passing, then he seemed to have that. But I would think he didn't always have it. I think that the people that he played with when he came to Manchester United brought that out in him, the place itself. But once he had it, He was a thoroughbred. He was possibly one of the best internationals I've ever seen in my life.
To get picked for England was lovely, you know. And I really enjoyed playing for England. I loved playing against international sides. It was a different game. The game at international level was just that little bit faster and a little bit more important nationally. I loved it, you know, I loved it. But I was never really far away from United because there was always other players playing with me, you know. Little Nobby got picked in. Yeah, it was I always said it was the jam on the bread playing for England. You're lucky if you get picked. If I didn't, it wouldn't really matter, you know. I was quite happy here.
He had a strange twist. He hit a lot of long balls, which is unusual for a boy to hit 40 and 50 yarders. Fling them all over the place. And I said, Bobby, very, very good son, but I said, you must become a great player. You must become a good short ball player too.
Bobby would collect the ball even if I gave it to him or if Paddy gave it to him. And he would knock a 30 or 40 yard ball either to George or David Hurd or up to Dennis and go running. And the ball would come back to him and he would strike the ball from outside the box and 9 times out of 10 it would go in the top corner.
Bobby Charlton sent in a blockbuster almost on half-time. Fullback George Cohen put the ball in the goal mouth. Hunt's header didn't quite make it, but Stiles scored.
I was a big fan of Nobby's, you know, because it was off the field, he was so quiet, so shy and always bubbling and enthusiastic, but no, on the field his language was terrible. You know, he was at everybody all the time. And he's a very good living religious lad, Nobby. On the field, but he used to drive everybody, you get in here and do that. And you used to turn around and see this wee guy that was half blind and no hair and a midget, and you think, who are you bloody? And you thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it, you know.
Bland's about, there's many a story you could tell about Nobby. He was clumsy, he'd knock things down at the over at the table, you know, he'd spill his soup and knock a glass over every time he had a meal. Cost a fortune.
People thought Nobby Stiles was dirty. He was not. He was possibly a little bit aggressive, but he had a great thing going for him. He was a great reader of the game.
And there was one year, I forget the year exactly, but I think probably was 65, something like that. And he was literally, I used to watch him, I used to think, he's playing everybody's position, everybody's defensive position. If Shea Brennan was in trouble, he sort of had this built-in awareness, and he would go and nip it in the bud, or Bill Foulkes was in trouble, or Tony Dunn was in trouble, or I was in trouble, or whatever. And he just had this fantastic gift. Now, it's not something that you can teach anybody. He just had it, you know, he could spot it.
In 1962, a 15-year-old boy from Northern Ireland joined the club as an apprentice. His name was George Best.
I used to go down to an afternoon to have a look at the boys, the possible boys, the boys that have been recommended and everything else. And there's a slip of a boy about that, as fast and as thick as that, and as small as that. And watching them playing and carrying on, I come back with the opinion that there was someone there who had extraordinary talent. But he's still a boy of 15 years of age.
George was like Edwards. Best didn't need coaching at all. He was an individualist. A pure and out individualist was George Best. So if we take that from him, George Best would have ceased to become a player.
I think I was just like every other kid. You know, we were all soccer crazy, football crazy. And, you know, kick the ball around the streets. And it was always our dream, you know, to go and, you know, play for an English club. But you never thought it was going to come off, you know. So when it did happen, it was like a dream come true for me.
After 7 minutes, the ball went to George Best. Goal! A shock that to the all-conquering Benfica, unbeaten on this ground for years. But there has to be a start for everything. Best had the ball again. Another goal.
Kane used to drive me mad on the field because I wouldn't say he was selfish, you know, but I mean, he was in a world of his own, George. When he got the ball, you know, like everybody else sort of was incidental. And occasionally he used to send me for dummies. Well, you don't send your own teammates for dummies, you send opposition. And I used to buy these, you know, I used to run into position to get the ball and it wouldn't come. And I used to be fuming. I'd come off the field often saying, the greedy little so-and-so, you know.